In this episode, I go over my top 5 picks for New Comic Book Day coming out next week, April 13th, 2022. What's going on, everybody? Justin here, aka No Good Comics, and welcome back to the channel. In this episode, I am going over my top 5 picks for New Comic Book Day coming out next week, April 13th, 2022. So if you're here for that, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. And before I get into the honorable mentions and my top 5 picks and my cover buy of the week, I want to remind everybody that I asked a question on last episode, my top 5 video, right? And what I was doing this past couple times is I would answer that question, or I would go over the answers that people would leave in the comment section. And this past episode, I got a lot more answers than I thought I was going to get, so I ended up making it its own video. So if you guys were wondering kind of what some of the answers were that were left from last week's question, which last week's question was, do you buy multiple variants or do you stick to one copy no matter what cover you buy? If you're looking for who answered what and what, what ideas were out there and how people approach that question, I'll put the link in the description below, but check out that video. And I think that might be something I start doing more often just because of all of the different answers that had come out. I want to make sure I'm reading all the different answers, kind of going over my thoughts on them. And I appreciate everybody taking the time to leave comments. So I think that's how I'm going to do it, at least moving forward, and we'll see kind of how this goes. The other thing too, I didn't want to make this particular video, my top 5 video, extremely long, right? It's already like 20 to 25 minutes. I didn't want this to turn into like a 45 to an hour length, video. So that was another major reason why I wanted to move the questions or the answers of the question to another video altogether, if that makes sense. But for this week, or for this video, I should say, I have a new question for you. So I'm going to drop this question and you let me know in the comment section below. So my question for you this time around is, how often do you read comics? Simple as that. Just how often do you read comics, whether it's digital or physical books, doesn't matter like the platform, but just how often are you reading comic book issues or whether it's a single issue or omnibus style or trade paperback or whatever the case may be. I know for some it's once a week. For others, it's once a day. Maybe you read 5 books a day. So I'd love to hear kind of your thoughts on that. How often are you reading comic books? Leave that answer in the comment section below, and I will go over them next week in my, I guess we call it the questions video or the answers video. I don't know what to call it yet, but the video that's coming before these Thursday videos, that is when that'll air. So probably a Tuesday or a Wednesday, where I'll read off the answers that you leave in this comment section below for this video, and we'll talk about them over there. So again, how often do you read comic books? Let me know. And other than that, let's jump into my honorable mentions to kick things off. I wanted to just mention a couple things here. First and foremost, there is a What If Miles Morales issue number 2 coming out that I'm not the biggest fan of what ifs, but I wanted to. I think I want to get this more as a cover buy, and it's not my cover buy of the week, but it's like it's right there. So it's Miles Morales becomes Wolverine, and it's like, of course, it's related to mutants, so I have to consider it. And I think Miles looks awesome in this particular cover. Stomping out the Sentinel looked really cool. So I wanted to mention that. Again, I'm not necessarily reading these. I would love to just give it a shot and, kind of see what it's about, but not necessarily a top 5 for me. So that's in my honorable mentions. The other 2 I wanted to mention here were Hit Me, issue number 2, and that is by Krista Faust and Priscilla Petrates. I was paying attention to this issue as like they were kind of marketing it in the beginning, because Priscilla Petrates is the one that's doing the artwork for it, and I absolutely love her work. I feel like I've talked about her plenty of times on the channel here, but yeah, so I know she's done a lot with like Rat Queens, and she has a whole portfolio, I'm sure. But that was something that I wanted to get into strictly based on just seeing that she was the artist for this. The actual cover here is not her, it's actually Jeff DeCal, and Jeff DeCal, of course, has been killing it. He's one of my favorite cover artists that are out there right now. But I have to say, issue number 1 was a wild ride, and I really enjoyed it. I would highly recommend checking that out if you haven't already, but I just wanted to kind of give that as an honorable mention. And then the other honorable mention I want to shout out here is Nita Hawes' Nightmare blog, issue number 6. It's only in my honorable mentions right now because I haven't actually been reading issue by issue. and I probably should be. I am practically caught up with Philadelphia. I just got into the current issue 19. I think 20 just came out, so I'm like two issues behind. And I love that. And I did read the first issue of Nita Hall. And I want to read more on that. I just wanted to wait for a trade, I think is how I wanted to approach this particular title. But I've heard nothing but good things. Like I said, I read the first issue. I really enjoyed kind of where it took place. And especially now that I've kind of caught up with Philadelphia, I can see this like kind of tie in to, where Rodney Barnes is going with Nita Hawes' storyline. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So I wanted to just mention that anybody who was curious or is looking for that, that's coming out this week. And I think this wraps up the first trade. So I plan to knock that out as kind of a trade read or a binge, and go from there. So those are my honorable mentions of the week, but let's get into my top 5 picks here. And right away, I am going into number 5 with Reign issue number 4, which I have been, this series has been a bit of a roller coaster for me because I loved issue number 1. I talked so highly of it. I made so many of my friends and the community members here in the comic book community read Reign issue number 1 because it was that fantastic, and I still stand by that. It's a fantastic read for an issue number 1. A way that it sets things up is just it's amazing. However, I will say that issue 2 kind of fell off for me, and I was very worried, and maybe it's because issue 1 it's as good as it is. It's hard to top that, right? So I think that played a big role, but I felt like 2 just moved really slow, and I feel like we didn't really get anywhere. And then the good news, and I mentioned this is kind of a roller coaster, is the next issue 3, I feel like kind of saved it and brought it back a bit, at least to where I became much more interested again in the characters that we meet, and kind of the continued journey that we see the main character go through. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I mean, if you haven't seen my rants about Reign, when issue 1 was coming out, you can go check them out over on Instagram. But yeah, I absolutely loved it. And so I am looking forward to this. Also, it's a 5-issue miniseries, so I want to just keep that going. I'm not going to just drop it now at this point, obviously, reading more than halfway. So yeah, that is why it made my top 5 picks, because I have not given up on Reign. I am still very much into it and interested to see where it goes in these last couple of issues as it wraps up. So that's going to be my number 5 pick of the week, Reign issue number 4. Let's go into my number 4 pick of the week, and I am going to go with Suicide Squad Blaze issue number 2. It feels like it's been, and maybe, I don't know, it feels like it's been a long time. I know the Black Label stuff, especially these like magazine size issues that only come, I think it's only a 3-part series. I feel like they really purposely space them out, but it does feel even longer. So I think it's been at least like 2 months since the last one came out, since issue 1 came out. And I have to say, I loved issue 1. I was blown away by it. I mean, I was, it's got everything you want, and when it comes to Suicide Squad, or what you think of with Suicide Squad. Like, obviously there's a very serious side to it, but there's also a very funny humor side to it as well. So I really appreciate how they have been kind of writing this out. And I have to say, like, I was a big fan of the movies, or especially the newest one, Suicide Squad. I really enjoyed that. So if you enjoyed that, I think that this is right down your alley. I will say the other thing is the writer, Simon Spurrier. He's on it for the writing. Aaron Campbell doing the artwork for this, which was also beautiful work on the interiors. So that also caught my attention. So yeah, I always say this, but Black Label, DC Black Label, I mean, they hit it out of the park. I have not been let down yet, at least from what I've been reading over the past, year and a half or so of DC Black Label stuff. I've really enjoyed everything that I've read, and not just like so, but like really, really enjoyed it. So that's another reason why I wanted to give Suicide Squad Blaze a shot, and I happen to love issue number 1. So I'm looking forward to issue number 2, and that's why I wanted to put this up on my list for my top 5, coming in at number 4. So that is, again, Suicide Squad Blaze issue number 2. Let's see. Going into my number 3 pick, we're going to jump over to Marvel here, and we're going to go with X-Men. X-Men issue number 10. It has been a wild ride as well. Let's see, it's like Dr. Stasis is now teaming up with MODOK, and Nimrod is involved as well, and so there's a lot of like robotics and nerdy scientists that are kind of teaming up here, and so the X-Men have a bit on their plate, I should say. And on top of that, the way that the last one ended, it seems like we're going to be getting Lady Deathstrike. I don't know in what form or how this is going down, but even just looking at kind of the description here of the beginning of this issue, and of course the cover itself, Death Strikes Swiftly is kind of the headline of it. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this. And again, I mean, it's an X-Men title. I know there's a lot of them out there. I know for anyone who might be newer to X-Men or just, newer to reading comics, X-Men is definitely a bit harder to get into, so I understand if maybe this is not on your list for whatever reason. But I will say that if you make the commitment to read like the Hickman stuff, especially starting with House of X, Powers of 10, and just going through all those different stories, it is well worth the payoff. And with where we are right now, with just the X titles in general, I am so fired up for just where things are going. Even now, knowing that Hickman's not even involved anymore, I'm like, yes, I need more. I need more. And Jerry Duggan's doing the writing on this, so he's doing a great job here. But yeah, just all around, all the different creators that are involved in all the X titles going on right now. I know we just wrapped up X Lives and X Deaths of Wolverine by Benjamin Percy. That was a fantastic read, and again, ended in a way that's like, whew, some awesome stuff is on its way. So I'm really looking forward to all that, and that is why I'm putting X-Men issue number 10 on my list at number 3. And I should clarify, this cover that we were looking at, it was almost my cover by the week, because my girl Laura, she's on the front and she's looking badass, and I love this cover. Like, I'm glad that, I mean, this is clearly going to be a book that I'm buying physically, because I want to have this cover in my collection as well. And so yeah, it's not my cover by the week, but it's close. All right, let's see. Going into my number 2 pick of the week. Going to DC again, and I have to go with Superman Son of Kal-El, issue number 10, Tom Taylor. I always say the guy has my heart. I am loving this series, and especially what we just got off of for issue 9, which was like the part 2 of Nightwing and Superman teaming up, right? And again, remember, if you're not reading this, this is not Clark Kent. This is Jonathan Kent as Superman, Son of Kal-El, obviously. So, we're getting some really cool team vibes between the crossover that they had for Nightwing and Superman, which of course Tom Taylor's also writing Nightwing, so that fit perfectly as well. And also last issue was Bruno Redondo's artwork on the interior. So I think that also just helped me fall even more in love with everything. So but we are switching back now to what's his name, Cyan Torme, which is the artist that's kind of been in and out ever since I think issue 6. So yeah, which has also been really good. I really enjoy it. I like this cover. It's a cool cover. And like I said, Tom Taylor, yeah, I'm going to always be, anything Tom Taylor puts out, it's most likely going to be on my top 5, because as of right now, he can do no wrong. So, I am really excited for seeing where this goes next. We're starting to get, a little bit more headway as to, this whole evil plan that's launched by, this guy, Henry Bendix, who's been the villain. And I don't know if that's a play on word with Bendis or not. I know Bendis wrote, I think, Superman right before. I don't know. But anyways, I'm looking forward to kind of seeing where this goes from here. I love the situations that Tom Taylor has been really writing up for Superman, Jonathan Kent. It's not all just your typical, his brute strength saves the day type stuff. Like, it's a lot more to it than that. There's definitely some politics involved as well. So, yeah, it's a lot of twists and turns, I'll say, and I'm really enjoying it. So, yeah, so that's gonna be my number 2 pick of the week: Superman, Son of Kal-El, issue number 2 by Tom Taylor. And let's see, before I go into issue number 1, I want to just thank everybody in the premiere chat right now. Shout out to all of you. Thanks so much for hanging out with me here on these Thursdays. If you got in here late, or if you didn't see the beginning of the video, just a reminder that I did have a new question for everybody, and I'm going over those answers to that question. Anything that you leave in the comment section here below, I'll go over them in another video that'll come out on either Tuesday or Wednesday. But so keep an eye out for that. And again, the question is, how often do you read comic books? So leave a comment in the comment section below. I'm curious to know, how often do you read comics? And we'll talk about that in a later video. Other than that, I have Comic Collector Origins is back this Saturday. Going to be talking to my friend Justin, another Justin, aka Nemesis Prime. I am really, really excited to be talking with him. I met him back at Terrificon last year, and it was really nice to just catch up with him. I've seen he's done a ton of stuff, YouTube, and he has his own podcast. He's done a ton on Instagram, and he's just a really good dude. He's actually local here in New Jersey as well. So I met up with him a couple times since Terrificon, and yeah, I can't wait to have him on, pick his brain about kind of how he got into or how he got into the comic book hobby. And we'll go from there. So again, that's Saturday, 2 o'clock Eastern, talking with Nemesis Prime. So swing by the channel if you are around for that. Other than that, I am also going to be on the comic book Canon this Sunday, being a special guest over there. So Jeff and Chris, I'm really excited to be joining you guys. If you guys don't know Comic Book Canon, definitely go check them out. I love, they have so much different discussions that they have in and around the community and within the hobby, and they're just really good people. I had Jeff on as a Comic Collector Origin guest at one point a few months ago. So yeah, I'm looking forward to hanging out with those guys again. This will technically be my second time on the show with them. So that's going to be this Sunday at 8 o'clock Eastern, and I'll put the link in the description for their channel as well, so you can check them out also. Other than all of that, let's get into my number one pick, which is going to go to, drum roll please, added. And by the way, when I share this, don't go away, because I have my cover buy of the week too that I want to talk about. My number one pick has to go to the Sandman Universe Nightmare Country issue number 1. I have been seeing a lot of people talk about this. I've been getting emails about this, a lot of hype around this series coming out, and I am so excited for it. I see that my man James Tynion is going to be writing this series, and I had no idea that he was going to be the author up until like a month ago or whatever. And so I am so pumped for this. I've become a big Sandman fan ever since I started reading the original stuff with Neil Gaiman. So that is something I'm still continuing to catch up on. For Christmas, I got the big omnibus of volume 1, so I'm working my way through that. But yeah, so seeing this come out, I have not kept up with anything else other than the Neil Gaiman original series. So I don't know a lot of any other tie-ins or anything else. I know that there's been a ton of kind of the Dream, or the Sandman Universe, I should say, stories that have gone on for the past couple of years. I haven't read any of them, but I want to get more involved in reading a lot of the newer current stuff. And I thought that this would be a perfect way to kind of jump into it. Like I said, one of the biggest things is just seeing Tynion's name on the book. I'm really excited for that. I feel like he's been killing it with things like Nice House on the Lake, Department of Truth, like, Something's Killing Children is back. Like, I love his style of writing, especially the horror stuff. And so this is right down my alley here. And then also the artist, Lisandro Estherren, is going to be doing the interior stuff. Do not know Lisandro, but I am looking forward to it. There's a ton of covers, of course. But yeah, I am definitely really, really excited for this series. And that is why it is my number one pick of the week, and what I'm looking forward to most, again, coming out next week for April 13th, 2022, New Comic Book Day. Yeah, I'm pumped. And I'd love to know too. Let me know in the comment section, are you going to be reading this? Are you a Sandman fan? Have you been following along with the Sandman universe? And if not, are you going to give this a shot anyways? Because I think that this can be something you can just jump into. At least that's, yeah, from my understanding. And by the way, technically, I didn't realize this, that this is DC Black Label. So that's another reason why I would want to jump into this as well, as I just talked about how great DC Black Label has been over the past 2.5 years or 2 years or whatever. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. All right, now hold on, don't go away yet. Not only am I talking about my number one pick of the week, but now I want to also mention my cover buy of the week. And the cover buy is this book, only it's not this cover. We're going with the 1 in 100 incentive variant by the lovely Jenny Frison. Look at this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful cover that we have here of my girl Death, who I've just kind of been introduced as. I read issue 8 for the Neil Gaiman stuff, and she's badass. I know that a lot of fans of Sandman, that Death is, it's Death, right? So, and by the way, I should clarify too, like, I am super excited for the show. I didn't even mention the show, but I am super excited for seeing what Netflix does with Neil Gaiman's Sandman overall. So that's another, reason that I'm like really jumping into a lot of this stuff. Just looking forward to that and being excited for it. So, but yeah, look at this lovely cover. It's absolutely beautiful. And I feel like I feel like Jenny Frison covers are like my cover by the week every other week. So maybe I'm a little predictable in that sense, but I just can't help it. Jenny has my heart with this artwork that she does. It's just so beautiful. And even just looking at it here on the screen, I cannot wait to have this in person. I already have it locked down So I will have myself a copy. Cannot wait to, just see what this looks like in person. Going to give it the Mylar treatment, right? And yeah, go from there. So that is going to be my cover buy of the week. And I'm curious, will you be buying this cover? And if not, what is your cover buy of the week? Let me know in the comment section below. I'm always curious to see, again, what people are going out of their way to buy, even if they don't necessarily read that book or are reading that book. For me, luckily, I'm also excited for this series, so I will definitely be reading it as well. Other than that, that's going to be my top 5 picks of the week, coming out next week for New Comic Book Day, April 13th, 2022. Leave a comment in the comment section below. Smash the like button on your way out. Thanks again for everybody in the premiere chat. I can hear my dog starting to bark. He's starting to get excited over there. So I'm going to wrap this up. Perfect timing, though. So hope everybody's well. And until next time, I'll talk to you later.